Hello and welcome to the first week of the Copyleft Games School Code and Hangout. Hang in. Uh, we have 3 students queued up to do tasks this week. First up is Samuel Kim. Will be presenting a bug.
I'll be presenting, I guess, a quick tour of the LiveToy code base.
A tutorial. Go ahead.
All right. So I guess we'll start out with liveblocks.py as an examples, and so in LiveToy we have scenes, which function as collections of bodies. For example, we have a camera here, and we have a light. And if we look at blocks.py, we see that it generates these boxes. So, let's see. So the camera is a special dialog which you can attach a projector to. Projector is a type of widget. Widgets are parts of the window, and yeah. So bodies have materials which are basically wrappers around shaders. For example, we have a textured material. We can attach textures to it. Here we have a checker texture. And we also have joints and fields to constrain and influence bodies. I'm not sure if fields are implemented yet, but yeah. And that's it. I can go into detail into any parts of the code base if you want. Any questions? Is my mic working?
Yes, it is.
So, any questions, or is that it?
Oh, does anyone have questions? Wow. Okay. Dead quiet in here today. So how you showed roughly how things chain up. What's the overall hierarchy of this?
So we, let me screen share again. So essentially we have a client. We can attach projectors to the window of the client, which shows you all the rendering of the bodies. And yeah. That should be it, I think.
So, window client attaches to the client comes with a window. But how do you get the 3D into it?
So you attach a projector to the window, which attaches to a camera in a scene. And the scene contains other bodies such as blocks, lights, and those bodies themselves get rendered by the scene. Yeah.
So the scene isn't in the projector, the camera's in the projector, the camera's in the scene.
Yeah.
Okay. Has anyone else gone through the Collide box to see how things work? Had any questions?
Anyone?
Okay. I think Venture's done. Then so next we have I wish this was just a little better sorted. Manic for a new feature.
Yes, I'm gonna present 8G bot today. There have been some improvements over past days in 8G bot. I think it's called Mercurial bot. It's a bot basically used for getting new developers for push access and all to the repository. It makes it really easy for the administrators to get new developers to join. They don't have to go to big forms and other things. They just have to register on IRC and that's it. They can then just push to the repository then. In the last few days, since the GCI began, there have been some improvements for HG for the bot. Now the bot can. There are some restrictions. There have been some restrictions for who can actually use certain features. Example, only administrators can update the description and contact information of a particular repository.
Would you like to show us?
Yes, of course. Okay, let me just find how to share the screen.
If you scroll to your mouse to the left-hand side, you'll see the green icon for screen.
Yes, I got it.
Okay.
It seems not to be working or something because just clicked it several times. Can anyone see my screen?
No.
No, I see you.
Let me. Okay, how about now?
No, right now I don't even see video.
When you click the screen share, it should show you a list of windows you can select.
and nothing is happening when I click that green icon for screen share.
Okay. I'll have to debug it for next week. So, what are the new the commands that have been added to HTBot in the last week?
There have been some new commands like repository command is the one, and then there's access. Particularly, user can give another user some access level of either developer, contributor, or administrator. And there is actually a lot going on with the repository command. You can actually list which channels the bot would post new updates for the repository on the IRC. And the administrator can set the channels too. So it makes it really easy for the administrator.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Wow. Okay. Okay. I guess we're moving on to Chris with present a bug. Chris, are you here? Chris? And he lost his connection. Okay. I think Tobias, did you claim a task on here?
Yes. It was the dependency task for PySoy. I think. So the dependency I want to concentrate on is libgee, libgee, and what that does is it allows you to, through a Vala sort of front, to use objects, G objects, and those functions which then are integrated with lots of genome stuff in there. But one of the big things that it adds is it actually adds lots of data structures like lists and maps and stuff that allow you to do more stuff with that data. Maybe allow you to create better programs. Also, because it's in Vala, you can also be extended to Genie, which is another big focus of one of these projects. So libg is used by, in my understanding, it's libg is used to get to access the C, which is being used with the G objects, and then allowed to take it into sort of a easier to understand language, which is Vala. With that, it also adds syntax that makes a little bit more sense, something that's more resembling of like JavaScript or Java, something a little bit more object-oriented. And
You want to show us an example?
Yeah, I can show you an example of some of the stuff. I don't think I have any. Let me just find a short example. So this is just something I just pulled off the web. Let me just switch to the screen. And this is just some basic libg examples. As you can see, we're able to use lists, and we're able to use generics in order to specify the types of those lists, which, if I believe correctly, is not something you were able to do originally in the C. It also gives us implementation, like being able to insert values into those lists. But a lot more than just that. As you can see, it compiles into Vala using just the Vala compiler, which also is used for when you're compiling Genie code. And lots of the stuff that you're seeing right now is right now it's taking it out of C and into a language which is better for also sort of learning programming and also for making readable code to someone who doesn't really understand, someone who's sort of new to it, or someone who hasn't been programmed for a long time. And as I said earlier, Genie is also is able to wrap lots of Vala functions and operations.
So can libg types, since they're object-oriented, can be extended?
Can libg types be extended?
Mm-hmm. Can you inherit them and make new classes?
In my understanding, I think that you can't. I think in my experience, you can extend them and make new classes. I haven't really dove into that much. Let's see. I believe that when I was digging through Vala earlier, that Vala has that integration, which would suggest that libg also has that. I guess libg is Vala implementation. So what was an example of that? Let me just find something quickly. In the meantime, is there any questions on what I've said so far?
I don't think we're have a very talkative group this week.
I feel like it's partially because everyone sort of has no idea who anyone else is. First week.
Yeah.
So, here we go. So I found, this isn't specifically libg, but this is Vala. As you can see, it supports, Vala does support classes. And where is the class extension? If I remember, in Genie, what it would look like is you would have your class name, class. But in this case, we would have a class called hello, which extends that string. So we can call string functions on hello. So also we could extend the G objects and also add functionality to those, which would be fun.
So, for example, the Genie uses libg types pretty extensively. Like Genie lists and dicts are actually libg types. So, could you inherit a Genie dict and do something like verify that the types being added fit some predetermined format, or do some other magic around adding and removing objects from it?
So extending a libg dict in Genie, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
In this case, a dict is just a map with a string key, right?
The types in Genie like that are generic, which means you have to define the types of the key and the value when you create it.
Okay. So if it's a since Valak does add that sort of layer of sort of object-orientedness, I believe that you would be able to extend a dict and do checks over it in Genie.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? Hank or Samuel?
So
Okay. Is there anything else?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So this is the end of the first week of Google Code in 2014. We have been completely barraged with students. It's been a little maddening. Last year we had 90 completed tasks all 8 weeks. This week we have had 70 tasks completed. There are 40 more tasks being worked on right now. So IRC's been really crazy. And the mentors in the inboxes have been just completely flooded. Every hour we get 8 to 12 new emails with subject line Google Code and alert, blah, blah, blah. So that also means that tests are being eaten up at a much faster pace. A lot of them are beginner tasks that we could just replicate, but a lot of them aren't. Icon tasks are about to go up for Stage 2, which is going to be taking the icons that were done in the first set and turning them into actual icon sets. So unifying styles, copying elements that work and discarding elements that don't work, making them into an artistic set, and in addition to that, actually defining the artistic guidelines for future icons. Now that we have some baseline stuff done in HGBot, we can start getting into actual code review and code sanity elements. We are about to get the new BuildBot server up, which is going to open up a lot of stuff, particularly around getting cross-platform building working. The biggest problem in the past with cross-platform building has been just maintaining it. We had Google Summer Code students do port to Android, port to Windows, and that worked for all 6 months. And because it was a one-time port, we didn't have the scripts or tool sets to keep that going. So the new system is going to let us the new set is going to let us new server is going to let us set up scripts to just automate that, but those scripts are all going to be GCI tasks. So getting Android working is going to be the next 2-3 weeks. Look at my list here. The other big one coming down the chain is going to be the Chromecast stuff, which you see the Chromecast behind me. This is actually looking at the live feed off YouTube right now. It's also being used so I can see when the YouTube thing fails, or if my feed fails. So there's a little bit of a mirror effect going on. You can see in the backwards from the camera on the camera. But there'll be Chromecast tests going up around using Android devices as a game controller on Chromecast, which is kind of an interesting concept in itself. Plug a $35 Chromecast in and do it. And of course, students to do these tasks will be getting special gifts. We had Dylan just joined. Dylan, do you have something to add to this hangout? Okay. And Nicholas has disappeared on us. So I don't think we have anything else. Does anyone have anything to talk about outside of your presentations?
I have a question about the Chromecast.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Could you sort of elaborate on how that would sort of work? So, is the Android device acting as the host as well as the controller and just playing a game on a TV? Or? Kind
of. So, beginning phase, yes. The Chromecast will literally be just streaming video over the local wireless network to the Chromecast. But because we switched over to OpenGL 2 last year, one of the big motivations in doing that was getting libsoy ready to stream WebGL. All of our shaders and strings in the source code for a reason. I mean, beyond that making a lot of sense, it also means that we can take the same strings and send them over the network. So the same version of libsoy running can export the shaders and the OpenGL information over the local network to the Chromecast, and have the Chromecast render the WebGL for itself rather than streaming video. And a further stage would be finally getting our physics ported over to JavaScript so that it can run directly on the Chromecast, in which case we're really close to having PySway running natively on the web. We had a browser plugin before to do that, but plugins are going away. Chrome just removed plugin support, and Firefox isn't far behind. So the move over to JavaScript is going to be a longer process, but we can get Chromecast working pretty quick on Android. Did that answer your question?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Trying to think of what else we had. There's a lot of new tasks coming up. A lot of the initial set was held back because it just wasn't ready. A lot of stuff was put up before it was actually ready. Player D stuff is still incoming. So Player D is the cross-platform game controller abstract API / player management. So player to device association that is hopefully going to be cross-engine. You can get other engines to support it. Yeah.
And PlayerD is also what does all the stuff with the controllers, right?
Yeah. That's his job. So if we get the end goal of this is that if you have a video game that's built to use PlayerD, that video game will automatically, provided it's using the higher level API, it will automatically have access to use a Wiimote, even if the game wasn't designed to use a Wiimote. It'll automatically gain access to use Microsoft Connect, even though it wasn't designed to use Microsoft Connect. The higher level functions are actions rather than actual input. So the action of looking would be a motion like this on a Connect. And, like, maybe just like the movie Her, when you're running around the video game, it can be this motion. Or something of that nature. The idea, though, is that we're abstracting away the low-level device support from each individual game, because that is, as we've learned over the last couple of years, it's really a big pain. We've had games controller support for a wide variety of different devices, but we didn't abstract them well in Python, and it was just impossible to use. So you spend a large amount of time working in game controller support rather than actually working on game logic.
And is there any idea, does PlayerD, is that eventually, or does it right now, support having like Android or iOS devices used as controllers?
That would be the goal, yeah. Also, it running natively on Android so that you can pair your PlayStation controller to your Android phone and just have things work. Each platform has something similar to this, kind of. They don't have the higher level API, but a lot of them have different support for different game controllers and how to map them roughly. On X11, there's the X-Input 2 system. You can, right now on X11, you can have two mice, both paired to a different, I forget the terminology for it. I use the term player, but you can have the mice separated so you have two mice, 2 pointers on the same screen. Most applications don't support that. It would make it be really ideal if X11 were just play X-Input 2 were just playing some abstract API in a video game that was multiplayer could just understand, oh, these are two mice plugged in. I can recognize them as two separate players, and player 1 has this mouse and player 2 has that mouse. But there's currently no system to do that. OS X has an even simpler system, but it does also support it, and I think Windows has multi-pointer support, but there's almost no support application-wise for that either. It's just really for developers to add all those different platform-specific APIs in and debug them is just months of work. So if you can do it once in a library and make that library cross-platform, it's going to save a lot of time and also make our code more reusable.
Okay.
We have a lot of people joining and leaving the Hangout, but not a lot of people talking. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm having internet.
Hey, Dylan.
Hey.
I'll check my email, see if anyone else. Okay. Chris removed his claim, so I guess it's the end of the Hangout. Does anyone have any questions about the program or some suggestions for what can be made into tasks?
Can I just ask whether I can do the PySoy task on Pydora, which is the Fedora?
Your audio just trailed out. Okay, well, we will be on IRC, and we'll be back here next week, same time, same place, unless we move the time, in which case it'll be a different time and the same place.
Oh,
Hello?
Right, I froze on both devices then, and then I did on my iPad.
Hey there?
Okay. I didn't catch the end of your answer.
Do you have a question?
I asked you about, did you hear about the Fedora on Raspberry Pi?
Oh, were you just asking that in IRC?
No, I asked you in Hangout, but I'm not sure if you heard it because it froze.
No, it got cut off.
Yeah, so I was just asking whether I could use the Fedora OS for the Raspberry Pi to complete the PISO tasks.
You're asking if you could use Fedora to do Raspberry Pi tasks.
Yeah.
There is a Fedora build for the Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, but could I use that to complete the PISO tasks? The one that I'm currently assigned to.
Do you have a Raspberry Pi?
Yep. Don't know if you can, no, you can't see it. Yeah, will it work?
You should be able to. The problem with a lot of the Raspberry Pi distros is they don't usually include some of the headers and package config files for the video core. But if you have the special Fedora or the Raspbian or whatever other distro of Raspberry Pi, so long as you have the right libraries, it should just work. The problem is a lot of them just don't package the libraries correctly. I think I tried it last year. I haven't tried it recently. But the last time I tried it didn't have the package config. But you could copy them yourselves.
Okay, yeah.
Have you?
So could I get a time extension on that task? Because I've been trying it all day on trying to boot it up on my mum's notebook, but it hasn't been working.
Yeah, of course. Just drop me the URL in IRC, and I'll give you an extension.
Okay.
It's the time for 72 hours. That's just a time frame to say if a student claims a task and doesn't do anything with it. A lot of students claim tasks and just disappear after that. They lose interest or they just get busy with something else. So after 3 days, the task returns to the pool. But if a student is doing any work on a task, we always extend it.
Oh, okay.
So,
cool.
Especially the intro tasks. I mean, the intro tasks, I mean, you could just as easily drop it and reclaim it. There's plenty of them.
Yeah.
But it's easy enough to extend it too. Whenever we run low on intro tasks in the group, I just upload more.
Yeah, because there was like 30 odd on each. Last time I saw.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a image you can use to make it easier. We're still need to get fixed for the B+ models, but it has the same software that runs on the image was originally tested on Raspbian. It was just a lot of setup work to get the Raspbian ready to compile software. It really wasn't made for it. So
it would work, but then after a while I'd probably have to get it running on Windows.
in Windows?
Like run it off a proper computer. Well, a bigger computer.
Oh, no. Everything should run just on and off the Raspberry Pi.
Oh, okay. That's good.
It's just you're going to have to do, if you're using the Fedora version of the Raspberry Pi software, you're going to have to do a little more setup work to get all the package config and header files in place, depending on the current state of the distro. Those problems may have been fixed already. It was pretty new when I tried it, so your mileage may vary.
Yeah. I'll try that.
Just paste me the link in the IRC.
Okay, I've got IRC open, but not the task.
All right. So gonna close up the hangout for this week. See you guys next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.